Hello, Dave here with Organic Gardening in North Carolina. It is October the 29th, but it's about time to do an October garden tour. So let me turn the camera around and I'll show you what's going on. Okay, here's a pepper plant. I just sort of put in randomly here, but I have been getting peppers off this one. And I've been eating peppers before I go to work or on the way to work every morning. Here's some onions. I put in little bulbs so it'll make like spring onions. I could actually start pulling these up and eating them anytime. Let's see, here's my tomato plant that actually did the best this year. Some parts of it are dead, but some parts are actually still alive and starting to actually spring back to life since we're getting a little more moisture now. Here's my one fig tree that I just planted out of a little cup, and I put some comfrey by that so I can tear those leaves off and give it some nutrition. Here's parsley. The worms have been eating that, caterpillars to turn into butterflies. I put some lettuce in here, some red lettuce and some green, I think butter crunch. Then these are the big radishes, daikon radishes, that I planted from seed that I got from my other plants. I had a bunch of spinach in here, but I might have planted it too soon. I'm gonna go ahead and plant garlic in here. It does have some cilantro here around the edges, which is just starting to grow. There's a couple spinach plants that made it, so I won't cover those up either. But there's another cilantro. Here's my Egyptian spinach, which has gotten so tall it's fallen over. See, I planted some radishes in here. I've had a hard time. I planted Swiss chard in this hugelkultur raised bed a couple times. I think the snails or something's been coming in and chopping them off, eating them up. Oh, here's something I don't show every time, and that is my ginger plant. Actually, I planted a few ginger roots in there. They weren't doing real great in the summer, so I left this Egyptian spinach plant here, give them some shade, and then they really started taking off when they got a little more shade and a little more water. So when they start turning, leaves start turning brown, I'll pull those up and see what we got into there. Oh, my goji berry bush, starting to get more leaves on it too. I think it might have got a little dried out. Thought I had planted it in the wettest spot on the property, but I think it still got dried out when we had a little bit lack of rain this summer. Look at those butterflies on the zinnias. There's 3 butterflies there. One looks like a monarch. I don't know what the other 2 are. And of course there's bees here too. Under here is a hot pepper plant with peppers in various stages. There's green and orange and red. My brother gave me these seeds and he didn't remember what kind of peppers they were. They look a little bit like habanero, but this plant is 6 feet tall, which seems a little big for an habanero plant. Maybe someone can tell me what these are. Love butterflies. Look at that one. I hope these things are focused a little bit. The everberry and strawberries are still giving some strawberries. like something ate that before I got to it. Here's my old raised bed. Has some sorrel, some Swiss chard, some sugar peas. Excuse me. There's some kale. Looks like I planted some vetch in here. I didn't remember doing that, but I do a lot of things I don't remember. This side has some carrots. There's the kale there. Some volunteer tomatoes that were in my compost that I put on top here. Oh, I believe this is arugula. Yep, sure is. And I planted some mock and something else here. I forget what that was. And it came up, but again, I think the snails or something got it. Or maybe I just planted it too early and it was still too warm. My dahlias have done well this summer too. They're a pretty flower. Here's one of my main crops of Egyptian spinach. I'm sorry, this is not Egyptian spinach. This is red Malabar spinach. Raspberries are still, or they're starting to put out a couple again at the end of the season. Have some more sugar peas here on this little fence trellis that had tomatoes on it. And also had some beans growing up it. And get those for seeds. I believe this is mock growing here. This is the stevia going to seed. I don't know if I ever showed you, but these bees, if they have a white head, you can go ahead and grab them. But you have to make sure they have a white head, because that one over there does not have a white head, and that would sting the tar out of you. I believe the white-headed ones are drones. This is called Bloody Dock. It's starting to come to life too when the weather's gotten a little bit cooler. This is a huge basil plant. I can probably start harvesting the seeds off of that soon. There's horseradish, more daikon radishes. I actually planted these every 4 inches to make sure that they're going to be able to grow bigger. Okay, this over here is supposed to be a perennial plant, and it's called cilantro. Not cilantro, cilantro. And I believe you eat the little leaves down at the bottom here. And it's supposed to taste like cilantro, but it's supposed to be perennial, and it's not supposed to bolt when it gets hot. So I didn't really harvest much off of it this year. I'm hoping it'll come back next year, and I'll be able to harvest off of it next year. There's a nice little sprig of it. Go under there. Has some sharp little leaves on it though. This is my fig tree that I haven't ever gotten any figs from it. And hopefully we're going to be frost free long enough for it to produce. But I'm not overly optimistic because we could have frost any day now. But that thing grew 5 feet this season. So I'm pretty impressed with that. Let's see, here's my Jerusalem artichokes. They've pretty much died. They flowered and died. so I could actually chop those down and dig up the tubers at any point, or I can leave them in the ground and dig them up all winter, because they do go bad really quick as soon as you pull them out. Here's where I planted most of my peppers. There's a nice sweet pepper. Nice sweet pepper. Like I said, I've been eating these every day on the way to work. This plant is a jalapeno, I believe. It's got some little peppers on it, but it also has some that are really big, and they're hot like a jalapeno. See, I planted some broccoli here that I got from the nursery. I did pick some worms off of here, just squished them, because they were eating the leaves. I don't see any right now. I'm going to try and show you these white-headed bees. They're on the marigolds. I do eat marigolds too, just to try to get some variety in my diet. Not sure if I have a whole lot more to show you. There's some more onions I planted. This is Mexican sunflowers, just volunteered up, and some bean plants that have volunteered up too. There's some Brussels sprouts. Oh, they're starting to make some little balls there. Did I show you the kale on the other side there? I forget if I mentioned what it was, but yeah, that's kale. Now my mind went blank on what it is. I think it's Egyptian. Not Egyptian. It's elephant kale, but it gets the long, straight leaves rather than the thick leaves. I believe these are more broccoli plants. And my tomato cages have a bunch of red Malabar spinach growing up. Okay, there's a white-headed bee. See the white on its head? Bye-bye. Okay, well, that's it for October. We'll see what's growing by next month. Thanks for watching. Have a blessed day.